I think we should congratulate not just the people who've done this work and not just the families who made it possible, but also the city and the authorities who've made the whole Makars Court project happen and grow, and it continues to grow. The three names are distinguished, I think, by all being fighters. When I was growing up, when I was a student, they were all names to be contended with. When you saw reviews in the press by Tom Scott, you paid attention. When you saw articles by Douglas Young, you certainly paid attention. And when you saw that a new book was coming out, a new poem was being published, or just a reading was happening by Sidney Goodsir Smith, it was worth going a long way for. These are three important names. They fought against a world where it seemed one small country's literature didn't matter. A project like Makars Court is a reminder that individual Scots stood out against that process and developed an authentic voice. And they did it by fighting.
These three men belong to a kind of heroic age in Scottish writing, and they emphasise the variety of that generation. Each of them was involved with the Scots language, but in a rather different way. These men were writing the kind of Scots spoken in the West and in Glasgow wouldn't have a strong connection to literary Scots. It tended to be stigmatised, and that's why I think it's particularly important for school children who may be Scots speakers themselves from the West Coast, from the industrial central belt, to reconnect with this more rarefied kind of Scots.
This is a very wonderful thing for Edinburgh and for the council to do, actually. It is great. It's showing, well, the sort of maybe the third Scottish Renaissance, that Scots is being treated as, you know, the Scottish literature. Instead of being totally ignored in schools and universities, it's coming back and it's being appreciated and promulgated, and that's what the Stones are helping to do.
Because Scotland as a cultural entity survived largely because of its literature, because of Robert Burns and Walter Scott in particular, hundreds of other writers as well.
And although they're remembered in libraries and although they're taught, they do fade into history unless someone does something concrete. So the whole point of Makars Court is to do it in stone. People may walk across them, but they look down, they see the name, they see a quotation, and they ask, who is that? It's a way of triggering interest, and we hope it'll last forever.
All three men celebrated Scotland. Two of them particularly celebrated Edinburgh. And standing here in the wind and the sunshine of Edinburgh, this is a city which is still ringing with literature. We can teach it, and it wells up fresh every year. A new audience and a new set of poets who may one day be immortalised in the stones here.
It's a matter of money, but like so many other things. These stones are about £1,000 each to put down. But family, friends, enthusiasts, all sorts of people are finding the money. And there are lots of candidates still to go. I've heard of a list today of another 10 who are still coming up for discussion. And beyond those 10, there will always be new Scottish writers who are coming up through the system. So sooner or later, this courtyard's going to be solid.
That man to man the world o'er, shall brothers be for all that.